Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for the Air Quality and Odor Control webinar. My name's Shelby Hanson and I'm a product specialist at Excel Air Systems, along with my colleague here, Steve Stott. At Excel Air Systems, we are driven by the motto of taking complex things and making them simple, which we consider to be the very essence of innovation. Beyond developing and manufacturing the world's most extreme next-generation environmental control systems and accessories, we offer an unmatched level of customer resources and technical support. In maintaining close connections with numerous industry professionals, we consider it a great privilege to be able to share valuable, relevant information while building mutually beneficial business relationships. When operating a grow facility, it is important to create a clean, healthy environment for the plants to thrive in, while also being considerate of the surrounding community. However, with the cannabis industry having only recently entered a new legal era, we've realized that many people haven't had the opportunity to gain much experience with certain concepts beyond that point. As such, while more obvious factors are often recognized as direct contributors to plant growth and facility success, the necessity for good air quality and effective odor control are often overlooked. Therefore, we are going to outline why exactly air quality and odor control are among the most underrated, underappreciated aspects of a grow room planning, and explain how our knowledge, expertise, and products can help you achieve cleaner air to protect and improve your crops. We'd now like to start with making sure that you have a good understanding of the distinction between the different types of cleanliness protocols. Understanding the different aspects of cleaning air. When we talk about a facility's indoor air quality, known within the industry as IAQ, we're actually talking about a few distinct aspects with different levels of sophistication. There are several components to implementing comprehensive IAQ solutions, a combination of which contribute to improving the cleanliness of a grow room to varying degrees of success. One aspect is air filtration, which deals with removing the actual particulate containing pathogens that's floating around in the air, preventing it from landing on the plants. This help ensures that nothing impure ends up in the final product. Since there are different sizes of particulate at different micron levels, a filter's MERV rating dictates how well it can filter particles or for how long. Beyond that, filtration techniques are extremely precise. Another aspect is odor control. Most odor is emitted from volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that have been created or replicated, so carbon is used as a capture point much like a sponge. With that established, we'd like to give you an overview of the deficiencies of what's been done in the past. The problem with traditional methods. There are some methods of controlling air quality and circulating fresh air, which, while not totally ineffective, are lacking in consistency and dependability, especially when compared to the more refined, modernized solutions. Traditionally, in striving to circulate fresh air in their facilities, many cannabis growers would simply vent outdoor air directly into their grow space. The problem with that method is that there's no way of knowing what outside contaminants are present in the air that's being brought in. So this literally opens the door for damaging issues like bugs, pesticides, pollen, and cross-contamination. These harmful organisms thrive on replicating themselves, which leads to powdery mildews and bacteria. With this setup, the only chance for any defense against such problems is to carefully examine the plants with a magnifying glass, lifting up each leaf to check the underside and ensure that there isn't any mold starting. Many growers conduct these thorough inspections on a daily basis, which becomes quite tedious and time-consuming. Additionally, depending on the seasonal climate in contrast to the desired growing environment, bringing in outdoor air could result in temperature and humidity levels being significantly higher in the grow space. This is detrimental to plants as it places them in a state of shock, inhibiting their growth potential. It also adds inefficiency to the process as a whole. Operating a sealed room removes a massive variable as the HVAC system is circulating the air every few minutes, driving temperature and humidity levels down to maintain a consistent environment without limitation. However, if the room is open to the outside, that control is taken away. For example, bringing in humid outside air could cause the plants to begin collecting moisture and buds to start softening up, becoming quite squishy. This would add a lot of unnecessary extra weight to the finished product, which would then have to be pulled out again along with terpenes in the drying and curing stage. To combat contamination issues, some growers have attempted to purify the air in their facilities by adding some sort of UV light bulb into the environment, purchased at random from an online retailer like Amazon without much thought. Unfortunately, what they haven't taken into account is that in order for the bulb to actually be consistently effective, it has to have a dual shielded, resistant to moisture, and most importantly, a UVC wavelength operating within a 254 nanometer range. Otherwise, being outside of that band does not achieve the desired properties and could potentially get into the UVA or UVB instead, which can prove hazardous. Without that level of fine-tuning, assuring that it's adequately sterilizing the air and doing its job every single pass, if the bulb drops out, it's basically just a blue light that looks neat in a room. The realization that it's not really capable of its intended purpose can be quite a disappointing letdown, which often discourages growers from even bothering with future attempts. Then knowing that a facility emitting strong cannabis odors, an effect further magnified by venting, is seen as extremely undesirable. Some growers have recognized the need for air filtration. However, many of them haven't gone far enough with the concept, assuming that their HVAC system will handle it sufficiently. While HVAC systems are indeed equipped with filters as part of their design, this feature predominantly serves to prevent particulate from entering the air handler and does not thoroughly scrub the room's air, though that does still happen to some extent, as it does catch the larger stuff. This is technically still better than nothing, but it's a very low-tech setup. Those possessing a reasonable understanding of these limitations have then sought to compensate by way of upgrading the filter on their system. The problem with simply doing that is the smaller the particulate, the more restrictive the filter is going to be, greatly reducing static pressure to the point that it's eventually hardly letting anything through. Depending on the frequency of maintenance, this could result in rather precarious situations. Even before that point, continually running a system with a filter like that hinders its efficiency. So the grower has essentially made the choice to sacrifice some degree of airflow ability for the sake of higher filtration. This is far from ideal, as the filter should definitely not be the only line of defense. For that reason, some growers have opted to implement some sort of air filtration system, usually of a rather crude design and material composition. These systems utilize charcoal pellets, which come in a canister, last for only a brief period, then have to be disposed of as they cannot be reused. Even during their lifespan, they barely scrub the air, since they're not designed for organic materials, rendering them largely inefficient for such applications and therefore not a viable solution. Altogether, for cannabis cultivators, trying to rely on these outdated ventilation, purification, and filtration methods have proven to be hopelessly inefficient at best and terribly disastrous at worst. But the need for good air quality and odor control within a sealed room remains crucial to an operation's overall success and cannot simply be ignored. The importance of air quality and odor control. Other than airflow design, which we've previously covered, air quality and odor control, ensuring that air is as clean as possible with no lingering organic scent escaping, is the most important aspect of setting up a grow room. It's really one of the biggest points. As big of a deal as the type of lighting that's being selected, in fact. Everyone selects their lighting for optimum performance based on the spectrum they are seeing. So it only makes sense to also select equipment that's going to provide the best air quality from the beginning stage to the end stages when plants are cut down, dried, and prepared for consumers. One of the main reasons for this approach is because cannabis as a consumable product is understandably expected to be of the highest possible purity. Just like us, plants are living, breathing things, so if you're not wanting to inhabit an environment with poor air quality, you shouldn't want your plants to do so either. The quality of your grow room is only going to be as good as what you allow it to be, so poor air quality results in a product that not only tastes and smells horrible, but feels horrible too. These deficiencies also run the risk of some plants becoming stronger or weaker than others, even though they are of the same strain. Such inconsistency is very undesirable when offering product to consumer. Since the cannabis market is highly competitive, you don't want to cut corners, as anything that puts your product at a slight disadvantage is doing the brand a disservice. Therefore, simply having a clean grow room with clean air circulating is already going to provide a serious advantage, resulting in larger yields, greater consistency, and far less problems with insects, mold, and mildew. Another reason for this approach is that as most communities already aren't very receptive to cannabis facilities to begin with. It's important to be considerate of the business neighbors and the general area. This means diligently staying on top of odor control procedures and operating within regulations and bylaws to ensure that the operation continues to thrive. With the realization that these protocols heavily influence both the growing process itself and the business overall with respect to community relations, it's clear that the role that air purification and air filtration technology plays in the success of a cannabis facility cannot be underestimated. So then, what's the answer? We'd now like to take a look at some of the superior air quality solutions. How air is properly purified. If you are running a cultivation facility and you don't think that the air quality in your grow room is up to par, and perhaps even that something is going wrong, you may be wondering how to best remedy the situation. At Excel Air Systems, we have the solution. We are proud to offer the UV Air Purifier, which utilizes a germicidal UVC light bulb meticulously dialed in to operate at precisely 254 nanometers, ensuring that it's always targeting pathogens. Featuring a dual-shielded quartz design, fully insulated material composition, and watertight connector, it's completely impervious to the effects of any temperature and humidity changes. The UV Air Purifier provides grow rooms with 24-hour protection, killing mold, bacteria, and viruses by changing the molecular structure of biological and chemical contaminants through the process of DNA sterilization and photooxidation. How do the logistics of this process actually work? There is a 3 to 4 inch kill zone surrounding each bulb, so any air within that range is subjected to its effects. When the UVC light hits the airborne pathogens, it's not just momentarily stunning them, but actually totally destroying their reproductive ability by scrambling the sequencing of their DNA, rendering them totally incapable of repopulation. From there, they are left to drop lifelessly to the floor of the facility where they can simply be swept up and disposed of. Since the UV Air Purifier's bulbs are relatively small, some individuals have incorrectly assumed that they are inferior to larger bulbs with increased contact time. While this could be a valid concern if air was only passing through the system once, we've designed the UV Air Purifier specifically for constant airflow circulation, where air is passing by the bulb as often as every 1 to 3 minutes. Therefore, the more frequently the air moves past, the less chance that anything is able to replicate in those areas. Since pathogens like mildew can live for up to 10 minutes, this thoroughly ensures that there have already been at least 3 shots at sterilization within that time frame, preventing them from repopulating. As one of our most popular add-on accessories, the UV Air Purifier can be incorporated directly into any HVAC system supply air chamber, as long as the system is running at 24 volts and easily connected to any indoor air handler via the same relay. This allows it to operate concurrently with the system's blower fan. In fact, anytime the blower fan is on, the UV purifier is running for a guaranteed operational lifespan of 2 years straight. For optimum performance and efficiency, we recommend having one UV air purifier for each HVAC system. For example, if you have a larger grow room and need 4 systems, which are all evenly distributed throughout the room, you're going to want at least 4 UV air purifiers. That way, each return air chamber is going to be able to eliminate all spores, bacteria, and mold. With this technology in place, you can rest assured that the air in the environment will be thoroughly purified, creating an ideal climate in which to grow your plants. And we can next turn our focus on how to effectively filter the air.
All right, how air is properly filtered. Along with the ongoing importance of maintaining a healthy environment in your cultivation facility, as your plants continue to grow larger, the need to take care of that smell also grows accordingly, becoming a huge priority itself. In order to take our defense against harmful airborne particles and VOCs to the next level, provide a superior odor control solution. Excel Air Systems also offers the Clean Air Filtration System, available as either a standalone unit or an inline edition. Engineered to further scrub the air in a facility down to a clean room-grade micron level, the Clean Air Filtration System incorporates multiple pleated filters, since filtration works best when going one step at a time, collecting finer particles at each level. This includes both a pre-filter and a secondary high-efficiency filter rated at MERV 11, which is used in most NASA applications, and MERV 15, which is used for hospital-grade cleanliness for optimal efficiency. To eliminate odors, the clean air filtration system also uses multiple trays of coconut blended carbon, creating a better, more hygienic environment for both plants and workers, while remaining within local municipality regulations to avoid any unwanted attention. This coconut carbon charcoal is shelled, not unlike rock that has been smashed with a sledgehammer to create varying similar sized pieces, without any piece actually being the exact same shape, in contrast to the identical pelletized charcoal products that have been traditionally being used. This difference may not initially sound like much, but it's actually a pretty big deal when it comes to its level of effectiveness. With their smooth shape, pelletized pieces allow air transfer to happen much more evenly, following the path of least resistance with little effect. Shelled pieces, on the other hand, with their abstract profile, do not have a singular path of air movement and catch a lot more air debris, so more particles can be pulled through them. This results in much greater longevity, since every few months you can literally just pull the tray out, flip, dump, and mix them around, and then place them back inside for continued use, utilizing the newly exposed surface area that wasn't there previously. When it comes to air filtration, the larger the surface area, the better. As unbelievable as it sounds, a small handful of shelled charcoal actually has a surface area comparable to that of a full-sized football field, due to all of its crevices, pits, and oxygen pockets, which resemble miniaturized caves when observed at a microscopic level. Therefore, just one 55-pound bag of coconut carbon charcoal is more than enough to provide efficient odor removal for a prolonged duration of time, and it can be reused multiple times. So you're not just buying a product, briefly using it, and then immediately throwing it out again. In fact, the coconut carbon charcoal can actually be reused and recycled multiple times. At XL Systems, we generally design rooms so that there is one standalone clean air filtration system for every 30 to 50 lights. With regards to placement for maximum effect, we definitely recommend keeping standalone clean air filtration systems in the flower room. Then once they're vegging, even having a system in the veg room would provide you with the full capability to eliminate all those odors at that stage as well. When it comes to cropping out, we suggest placing standalone clean air filtration systems in the hallways and larger interior rooms where doors are constantly opening and closing to prevent strong cannabis odors from getting into the central HVAC system for the offices or seeping through windows and walls to escape to the outside. Much like our Evolution series systems, the clean air filtration system can also be suspended from ceilings for easy maintenance access. That being said, since each stage has its own importance to the process, you can literally put the system on a cart, mount it on the floor on wheels if desired, and wheel it around in a single grow room or into different rooms as needed. They can be rolled out of growing rooms and into drying and curing rooms or trimming rooms, assuming that the growing schedule is set in a way so that it is staggered. One system could even be used for 2 rooms, for example. If one room is flowering and the other room is vegging, a grower could keep the standalone system in one that's flowering, and then once it's done, roll it back into the other room. For smaller scale setups, such as a single system in a small room, if you don't have the space for a full standalone unit, there's still a way to have a little bit of everything. In those scenarios, the Inline clean air filtration system is a viable option to incorporate into your HVAC system. It's the same application, just sized down, so you would still be having just as many air turns within the room. All that being said, regardless of the exact combination of products and methods being implemented, we'd still like to make sure you're adequately preparing your facility for proper air quality and odor control, and have an understanding of what to be mindful of, the misconceptions and things to realize. Even with our sustained efforts to inform industry professionals about the importance of air quality and odor control, we've observed that some misconceptions about the necessity of these protocols still remain, perhaps based on naivety or even an over-enthusiasm for what the main environmental control elements have to offer. The individuals with this mindset may just not realize the difference that our innovative add-on products can make. We've noticed that in planning and setting up their facilities, a lot of growers are really focused on procuring an effective HVAC system, and that they overlook some of the other aspects. They order the system and are excited about installing them and starting growing, but they forget that the next speed bump in the road involves air filtration and odor control, and how they're going to pass the required inspections. For that reason, we always make a point of reminding our customers along the way in order to help them get over the hump by explaining the way that inspectors understand the process and why things are set up in a manner that they are. For example, some individuals have objected to the necessity of air purification, citing the fact that all agricultural crops, including cannabis, naturally grow outside. While that's technically true in principle, they're not considering that insect infestations are also a major part of the natural cycle. Nobody wants to buy a product that bugs have been all over, especially since, unlike fruit and vegetables, cannabis cannot simply be washed and scrubbed clean. This difference means that there's a greater incentive to cultivate plants in an environment with proper air quality. It's the smallest course of action that a grower can take, but with the biggest benefits. Even so, we've dealt with people who still think they don't need it, but then later regret it. For example, after his friend had a very successful crop, one cultivator had then been given one of the mother plants to try growing the strain himself, amidst his other plants. The growing process initially went very well through the veg stage, but when he brought the plants into the flowering room, everything went terribly wrong. As it turned out, the plants were infested with mites and root rot, which had not immediately been detectable. By the time he realized that there was an issue, it was only a few days before the leaves had started to point down towards the soil, leaving the cultivator with no choice but to destroy all the plants, resulting in a total loss of approximately $150,000 worth of damage. Subsequently, before the next round, the cultivator completely sterilized and cleaned his grow room and then installed one of the UV air purifiers. After letting that run for several days to make sure the air was thoroughly scrubbed, stopping the reproduction of any bacteria, spores, mold, or mildew, he brought his new plants inside. With the added technology, there were absolutely no problems after that point. Once again, like many times before, a customer unfortunately had to learn the hard way. The fact that he wasn't able to tell right away that something was amiss, but then with UV purification had no further issues in his grow space, stands a testament to the necessity of preemptive air quality measures for a successful yield. Similarly, some individuals have also underestimated the necessity of proper odor control, thinking that they don't need air filtration because the emanating smell wouldn't really be that strong or noticeable. However, as the plants continue to grow, the smell often intensifies to the point that it's even affecting the breathing of the workers who are constantly inhaling the musky odors. When combined with the extra humidity in the space, this can actually make workers sick. At this point, cultivators really need to realize that they've waited until the last minute to deal with the odor issue, but mistakenly think that they have sufficient equipment in place. So they end up just opening the grow room up to the outside air. Not only does this create negative pressure, which plants dislike and don't thrive in, but it's venting the odor out to the business neighbors in commercial industrial spots. This usually results in the cultivator receiving a series of violation tickets with rather high fines. These risks illustrate the urgency for growers to follow proper protocols, especially since repeated violations can bring the threat of having their entire operation permanently shut down and their license revoked. So it's really important to not cut corners and be respectful of your neighbors. There are a lot of people looking for reasons to complain, and the community can hit back at you for not properly setting up within municipal laws. Obviously, laws and regulations vary from region to region. Up here in Canada, for example, Health Canada is very hard to impress, since they're all about air quality, while in the United States, we realize that each law is kind of different for what is expected of you in each state. For those reasons, we still definitely suggest figuring out what exactly is expected before even looking at any of the options, but we've certainly had customers realize the difference it can make. In closing, at XL Air Systems, we're determined to continually design next-generation products, specifically for cannabis growers, in order to provide you with total environmental control in your facility. A substantial part of this commitment involves ensuring that you have the cleanest possible air quality with dependable filtration technology that effectively mitigates all organic odors. We don't just want to meet your expectations, we want to exceed your expectations and continuously set a new standard within the cannabis industry for not just air quality, but for air filtration. We work in close collaboration with growers to ensure that all regulations are met and inspections are passed, providing you with the cut sheets and all the relevant information to explain what our systems and products can do for you and how they can take care of air quality purification and filtration in your facility. Our Evolution Series systems ensures continual air exchanges every 1 to 3 minutes, 24 hours a day, and our UV air purifier and clean air filtration system allows you to easily and consistently manage air quality and organic odors. Rather than just buying a random assortment of products and hoping that they work, having equipment that you know is going to work and stand the test of time allows you to rest assured that you can achieve better yields without the risk of harmful contaminants, ruining crops, or escaping odors causing any issues. The bottom line is that at Excel Air Systems, we really want to put our expertise towards helping our customers and take great pride in providing them with the very best in air quality and odor control technology to give them that extra benchmark of protection because we want everyone to be successful. Right now, though, we want to be respectful of everyone's time, so we'd like to express our sincere appreciation to all of you for your interest and attention. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our knowledge of air quality and odor control with you.